to this videos? If we make 5,000 likes to this video, we will upload more patriotic news. Thank you. Rush just shut down Libs who lied about Trump calling White House a dump. Liberals and anti-Trump Republicans are always looking for a fresh angle to smear President Donald Trump and make people turn against him. In the latest instance, the editors of Golf magazine decided to publish a dubious article where they claimed that Trump referred to the White House as a real dump. On his show, Rush Limbaugh shot down this obvious lie, saying, "Now, on this White House is a dump business, I've never been to Trump's golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey." The story is at thehill.com, where they report members at his Bedminster, New Jersey golf club that the White House is a real dump. He continued, "I just can tell you this. I was at the White House, Catherine and I were at the White House on March 23 for about 5 hours. Before we sat down and had dinner, Trump gave us a tour of the White House and the residence. I had been there before, and I didn't quite know how to handle that." Rush detailed, "I've been there a number of times but I don't think President Trump knew that. And so when he said, 'Rush, have you seen this?' And of course I had, no matter what it was he was showing, I said, 'Never with you, sir.' And he remained enthusiastic." Limbaugh refuted Golf magazine's claim once and for all, saying, "But here's the point. Wherever we went, particularly in the residence, when he was showing us the Lincoln bedroom and the hallways, throughout the entire structure, he kept telling us how shocked he was. How luxurious the White House was. He concluded, Trump never referred to it as a dump. He was proud of it. He kept telling us how luxurious it was and how surprised he was at that. Are you sick of all these obvious lies about prison time is coming? Mysterious man just made huge warning to Pelosi. Given all the corruption that Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi has been connected to as currently Democratic Minority Leader of the House and former House Speaker, it's remarkable that she has not gone to prison already. There are evidently no shortage of people who agree. Rep. Pelosi got a shocking wake-up call recently when an unidentified man confronted her about the time behind bars that he claims is awaiting her. According to a video that surfaced on the YouTube channel called Conservative Merkins, a man carrying a camera got Rep. Pelosi as she was walking by him. "Nancy," he said to her. Pelosi surprisingly recognized her name and turned to face him. "Hi," she answered. Then the unknown man stated directly at the Clinton-allied Congresswoman, "Prison time is coming soon. Be ready." Nancy immediately turned away from him, saying, The man added, "Donald Trump. Not much time left. Bad news for you." In the video, the unidentified man never spelled out what he meant specifically when he said that Rep. Pelosi was headed for a prison term. Some commenters applauded the video, with one commenter saying, "Bring a black purse and shoes to match your orange jumpsuit, Nancy." Another, however, did not seem pleased by the video and wrote, "A little creepy. I prefer it when we don't act like the left." What's your take on the video? Do you think Pelosi is headed to prison? Trump advisor demolishes CNN's Acosta to his face, "He's ignorant and outrageous." CNN reporter Jim Acosta has arguably been the worst of the bad lot in today's White House press pool, and has time and time again shown contempt for President Donald Trump and his surrogates in press briefings. Reacting to details about President Trump's merit-based immigration policy, Acosta once again went too far, prompting Trump advisor Stephen Miller to publicly berate him in a memorable way. Acosta began by claiming to Miller and the other reporters, "What you're proposing, or what the president is proposing, does not sound like it's in keeping with American tradition when it comes to immigration." He added, "Can't people learn how to speak English when they get here?" He then suggested that Trump only wants immigrants who hail from Great Britain and Australia. Miller then slammed him, saying, "I honestly have to say I am shocked at your statement that you think that only people from Great Britain and Australia would know English. It reveals your cosmopolitan bias to a shocking degree." Acosta doubled down on his rhetoric, saying, It just sounds like you're trying to engineer the racial and ethnic flow of people into this country. Rebuked Miller, Jim, that is one of the most outrageous, insulting, ignorant and foolish things you've ever said. He later added, insinuations like Jim made trying to ascribe nefarious motives to a compassionate immigration measure designed to help newcomers and current arrivals alike is wrong. Moaned Acosta in response, you called me ignorant on national television. Do you think Jim Acosta is ignorant? Liberal outlets plead to make it illegal for white men to vote. First the Huffington Post, and now Affinity magazine. Over and over again, liberal outlets are suggesting that white men must be punished for slavery by losing the right to vote. It won't be long until this becomes a mainstream liberal opinion. Last time a journalist dared to use their platform and freedom of speech to discuss this question on the Huffington Post, she was silenced and the article was taken down, wrote Affinity magazine. However, I saw it and thought that the benefits of reversing white men's suffrage was definitely worth discussing. After all, women and people of color went through times of not being allowed to vote, and the fact that white men never had to experience that is an injustice, they wrote. Despite the fact that we are given the illusion of democracy today, even though in reality the Electoral College decides our future for us, do oppressors of minorities and women deserve to choose to continue our oppression? Or should we help them by withdrawing the right to vote from them for a while until we can truly get on the same page and connect? They wrote. Women were not allowed to vote in the United States until 1920, so that's over a millennium of women lacking the right to vote. And what reparations have been paid since then? Nothing. Where's the justice for women? Black suffrage in the United States has also been a slow process where even when people of color were legally allowed to vote in the 1860s, they explained. Do you think liberals are taking this terrible logic too far? Stephen Miller humiliates CNN's Jim Acosta in front of everyone. Your cosmopolitan bias is shocking. President Trump says Stephen Miller took the stand and completely humiliated CNN's Jim Acosta. Acosta tried to imply that him and the president were racists because they are preferring English-speaking immigrants. However, Jim Acosta ended up being called out by Miller for the really racist implications in his questions. First, Miller called him out for seemingly not being able to distinguish between legal immigration and illegal immigration. Surely, Jim, you don't actually think that a wall affects green card policy? You couldn't possibly believe that, do you? Actually, the notion that you actually think that immigration is at a historic low, the foreign-born population of the United States today. Do you really, Jim? I wanna be serious. Do you really at CNN not know the difference between green card policy and illegal immigration? Said Miller. Sir, my father was a Cuban immigrant. He came to this country in 1962, right before the Cuban Missile Crisis, and obtained a green card, yes. They may learn English as a second language later on in life. But this whole notion that they have to learn English before they get to the United States, are we just gonna bring people in from Great Britain and Australia? Said Acosta. Miller completely crushed him for saying this. Jim, actually, I have to honestly say, Miller mocked. I am shocked at your statement that you think only people from Great Britain and Australia would know English. It reveals your cosmopolitan bias to a shocking degree that in your mind, no, this is an amazing moment, this is an amazing moment. That you think only people from Great Britain or Australia would speak English is so insulting to millions of hard-working immigrants from all over the world, replied. Breaking An EECP just warned black people not to go to one Midwestern state. During the past few years, hysteria has been building up among liberals, who want the entire earth to be a safe space where they never hear an opinion that is different than their own. It has gotten to such a point of absurdity that the An EECP just put out a warning for African Americans to stay away from an entire non-blue state. Many cheered when Missouri Governor Eric Greitens signed Senate Bill 43 into law, which will have the reasonable effect of making people who claim housing or workplace discrimination actually prove that they were discriminated against. Praised President and CEO of the Missouri Chamber of Commerce and Industry Daniel P. Mahan, this new law ends a decade-long period where Missouri was one of the easiest places in the nation to sue a company, and when our abnormally low standard for discrimination lawsuits was a major reason why Missouri has been labeled a judicial hellhole and ranked among the states with the worst legal climates in the nation. This unwanted status hurt our ability to attract business investment opportunities. The NEECP, however, is claiming that this common-sense legislation is somehow racist. At the left-wing organization's most recent conference, they voted to put out a travel advisory for people of color, women, seniors, the LGBT community, those with disabilities or those perceived to have disabilities, and religious minorities against going to Missouri. Alleged NEECP President Cheryl Clay, our ongoing issues of racial profiling, discrimination, harassment and excess violence towards people of color have been further exacerbated by the passage and signing of 43. She added that it supposedly rolls back civil rights protections for employees and whistleblowers. It makes it nearly impossible to file and win a discrimination lawsuit. Do you think it's ridiculous the NEECP would try to avoid an entire state?